All right, let's go ahead and bring in Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor, also a law professor at George Washington University here in D.C. Jonathan, so we know that Judge Cannon told Ryan Routh, okay, you can represent yourself, but I want the public defenders to be on standby counsel, I think it's called. Now, we just heard from Dana Marie that she was already upset with him today. She said he was massively unprepared when he showed up for pre-trial stuff. Is there a possibility a public defender could step back in and take over his side of this?
Jillian, this is part of the problem with self-representation for figures like Routh. They have a constitutional right to do so as long as they're not disrupting the court. And Judge Cannon has really gone out of her way to try to explain over and over again to Routh how you should make objections, how the trial is going to go forward. But he's continuing, not surprisingly, to act in ways that a lawyer would not. He's making motions that he really can't make at this stage. He's making demands that are really not based in the law. And he keeps on saying he doesn't want his counsel to assist him. She's going to try to make this work, which is the burden of a court, because you do have a right of self-representation. Part of the problem, Julian, here is that the standard for insanity in the federal system is actually fairly high. There's a lot of road between normal people like yourself and someone like Routh, but he's still considered to be sane. So you can have someone who's entirely dysfunctional, even rather delusional at points, who still doesn't trigger the standard for insanity.
Is there any chance, Jonathan, that him behaving like this in court is a ploy to further that argument along, that he's, got a couple screws loose?
No, because I think the jury is going to get instructions if this is raised again, that this is a person who does not meet the standard for insanity. I don't even think that's his effort. This is a guy who's obviously a megalomaniac. He's obviously someone who's obsessed with himself. And he, like many of defendants in this position, he believes that he can do a better job than counsel. He's wrong. But ultimately, it probably doesn't matter. I mean, unless he's got an evil twin defense, this is a mountain of evidence. I mean, he can get rid of 90% of the evidence and still be convicted many times over in the eyes of most jurors. I mean, he was caught basically in the act. They have all the evidence they need to convict this guy. So in the end, it probably won't matter, but he's certainly not helping whatever case he has.
I want to ask you about one of our other top stories today. This judge has ruled that President Trump has banned, Secretary of Defense also banned from sending National Guard troops into the state of California. Governor Gavin Newsom responding with this post. He writes, federal court granted our injunction blocking Trump's illegal use of the military for domestic law enforcement. The ruling is clear. Trump is breaking the law by trying to create a national police force with himself as its chief. And yet, Jonathan, the judge also said that the 300 National Guard troops in L.A. right now can stay there.
Right. It's a bit of an anomaly. Frankly, this is part of the dynamics of this situation. I think President Trump realized he's going to win either way. He's forcing these Democratic politicians to fight every effort of the feds to increase law enforcement efforts in their cities, in their state. And that's not good optics. It plays well, obviously, for the sort of base of the Democratic Party, but not for a lot of other people. Chicago is a good example of that. I'm from Chicago, and I don't know anyone that really feels safe in Chicago, certainly not on the South Side.
We got to leave it there, but thank you for taking time with us, Jonathan. Always instructive to hear your perspective.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.